Have a buddy. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with Ron Placone and Jim Earl.
Howdy, howdy.
And we're talking about the DNC. They had a big debate. And, you know, one of the problems is that the half the party felt like they were cheated and gaslighted and that the primary was rigged against them. And the reason they feel that way is because it happened. It's not just a feeling based on nothing. That happened, which is why Donna Brazile got fired from CNN in disgrace, why Debbie Wasserman Schultz had to step down from the DNC in shame, although she didn't look embarrassed at all. Those two things happened because those people got caught cheating. The progressive.
And the CNN said they were horrified by what Brazile did. And for CNN to say they were horrified by something is, it's horrific. It must be.
It must be. So, yeah. So here we go. So here's what Tom Perez, the guy who's running, he's Barack Obama's pick, and he's the corporate guy running for the DNC chair. And he said this. He said, "We heard loudly and clearly yesterday from Bernie supporters that the process was rigged." And it was. And you've got to be honest about it. That's why we need a chair who is transparent. That's what Tom Perez said. That's why we need a chair who's transparent. That's what Tom Perez said, because they had another DNC meeting where Sam Ronan got up and said plainly just that, and people cheered. So then he's like, all right, I'll admit the truth. But then the donors got in his ear, and he quickly turned around. He said, I've been asked by friends about a quote and want to be clear about what I said, and that I misspoke. Oh, the dreaded misspoke. When I was clear, writing in all caps, I misspoke. This was a misspoke. Here we go. Here's what he said. Hillary became our nominee fair and square, and she won more votes in the primary in general than her opponents. So that's the thing. That's the gaslighting. That's the So he said you got to be. You need. That's why we need a chair who's transparent. And then he goes on to be not transparent and lie. And you think that's going to win? So here they asked him at the debate last night.
Secretary Perez, recently you said that the primary was rigged against Bernie Sanders. Later the same day you said you misspoke when you made those comments. Which is it?
Well, here are the facts. Hillary Clinton won the Democratic primary. Hillary Clinton also won the popular vote. At the same time, because of the absence of transparency in the Democratic primary, there was a crisis of trust that ensued. And what we need in the chair...
It was just the transparency. It wasn't the shit they were doing. It was just that there wasn't transparency. So that created the feeling. No, that's not it. Again, talk about... And he's... In the middle of saying we need transparency, he's bullshitting. Isn't that weird? I think that's weird. Isn't that weird that in the middle of telling everybody we need honesty and openness and transparency, and at the same time he's bullshitting you? That's weird. And then you think that's first of all, and who do you think watches this? The people who are the most informed about politics. The people who are the most interested watches a fucking DNC debate. And so these are the people you think you can bullshit? And that's why Hillary lost, and that's why the corporate Democrats are repulsive, because you gaslight people, and that doesn't win elections, you fuckface. That's why we have Donald Trump president, and you want to keep doing it.
Plus, his voice sounds like he's been deep-throating Sherrod Brown.
Yeah, he lost his voice. That's not how he normally sounds.
The Democratic Party is to make sure that in fact and in perception, every single day, you are fair and neutral. That's why when you asked the question before about primaries, you have to let the primary process go. If I were the chair, if I have the privilege of winning, for instance, one of the things I would recommend would be that we set the primary debate schedule long in advance of when we know who the candidates are. We have to do everything to make sure we are fair and transparent. And it's not only in how we set the primary process. The DNC is a black hole, and we have a crisis of confidence because it is. And that's why the lead...
No, we don't have a crisis of confidence because it's a black hole. We have a crisis of confidence because the donor class runs the party and screwed over very clearly the progressive candidate unethically. That's what's happening. That's why, not because of some metaphorical black hole that no one has to take responsibility for, but for actual things done, for decisions made by the party on what direction to go. The decision to ignore white workers and go after Republicans in the suburbs. That's not a black hole. That's what's wrong with the party, Tom. And if you don't know what's wrong with the party, you can't fix it.
But they didn't do anything wrong. They just weren't transparent enough.
They just weren't. Yeah, that's what he's trying to say, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, when you were a kid, I mean, weren't there times like I know my parents would come up to me, they'd be like, "Hey, did you use the car when you weren't supposed to?" And I said, "No, I didn't." They're like, "Well, you weren't transparent enough about not doing something you weren't supposed to do, so you're still grounded." Oh, except that never happened because that's ridiculous.
Of the DNC needs to make sure that we are investing in
hold on a second,
transparency
Secretary, 10 seconds. Was it rigged or not?
Straight question.
Yeah, thank you. Like the question was on the screen, and he's like, "We need to set the further in advance. We need to plan stuff." I got to call the scheduler. Like, wait, was it rigged against Bernie Sanders? Like, we got time slots.
So here it is. Straight question. Watch him not answer it.
And the process, because of the absence of transparency, it created that crisis of relevance, and it created the distrust that people didn't trust the outcome.
Mr. Ronan, was it rigged?
Do you guys buy that shit? Who buys that? Again, because of the lack of the thing. It created the thing. This thing no one has to take responsibility for created another thing no one has to take responsibility for. Please vote for me.
You know, Tom Perez is going to have lunch with Donald Trump soon, and Donald Trump's going to insist that they have the word salad.
Ha!
Sounds like Jerry Lewis explaining.
No kidding, right?
So the thing and over here and the lady.
With the lady, please, with the hitting. I have glasses, don't with the high.
Hurt.
So Chris Cuomo then very quickly pivots right to Sam Ronan, and he does this.
Thank you. I was going to interrupt anyway. The point is, not only was the primary rigged, it was also rigged all across the country because the DNC has never allowed outsiders or brand new people to rise through the ranks.
Is that hard to say? Is it that? Yes, of course it was rigged. And then there's Tom Perez saying like, I wish I could have my balls back. Look at this kid gets to just fucking tell the truth right on TV. Man, what a dream life that must be. I can't do that, obviously. I'm in politics. Here we go.
There's always been an insider game, and it has been that way for a very, very long time. That is where that lack of trust has come into play, because not only was Bernie Sanders snubbed, not only did it look like Hillary Clinton had bought or muscled her way into it, then those supporters were denied a chance to speak at the convention, and that was the final straw. If people don't have a voice, an equitable voice, like I alluded to earlier, then people are not going to trust the system, and they are going to go out of their way to break it.
Secretary Perez, is Mr. Ronan wrong?
Well, again, we need every single day, as the leader of the Labor Department, the leader of the Civil Rights Division.
And we talk about how to not answer questions. No matter how many times they're answered directly, no matter how short and succinct the question is, we get together and we say, we just keep talking. You just talk and obfuscate, and no one will notice, and then we'll win. This is the guy. This is the guy you want as your DNC chair? That fucking guy? That mealy-mouthed bullshitter of a used car salesman? That's the guy you want? That's going to beat Trump? He's got nothing. That guy? I hope they elect that guy, because it will make it so easy to not fucking vote Democratic. It will be so easy to leave the party. There will be so many people that just walk right out of the party. Elect that fucking bullshitting, double-speaking guy who does not have the ability to answer a straight question. Elect that fucking guy. And see, this is the equivalent of electing Hillary Clinton in the primary. Go ahead, do it again. Keep doing that same thing. And then keep wagging your finger, though, at the Green Party or comedians or third-party people. Keep wagging your finger at people with no money and no power. But it couldn't be that these guys do the exact same thing over and over and over. And by what they're doing, by the way, is fucking over their base. That's what that is. But it's everyone else's fault. Again, it's Russia, it's Comey, it's comedians, it's third-party people, it's a bunch of
Actresses.
It's activists and actresses. It's people with, again, it's always somebody with no power. That's whose fault it is. It's never someone who actually has the power to do something about it. It's never their fault. This is unbelievable that this guy thinks he can stand up there and that is going to be a win. He still might be the DNC chair because the people who vote are all corrupt. He gets picked by donors and super delegates. That's who picks him. Insiders pick him. So he still might be the DNC chair, and that will be the death. Hillary Clinton is the death of the left. She's the death of the Democrats. And this will, I guess you need another nail in the coffin, because that will be another nail in the coffin. That shit? You think that shit is winning? That shit.
You just voted 3 times for Trump again by saying that.
Yeah. Yes, I know.
I hope to be the leader.
You know who's helping Trump? That guy is helping Trump. That helps Trump. That's the guy. That's the guy enabling Trump.
Of the Democratic Party. We have to do everything in a transparent fashion. And when you do that, you earn trust. Trust isn't something you're given.
I would
it's
like to
something
say
you earn.
I think that's a long way of saying no.
Why, Mr. Mayor, why?
That's a long way of saying no. Sam Ronan. Again, look, oh my God, I just answered the question again. I spoke plainly. And that guy, he doesn't feel like a jagoff. Like, he doesn't go, I know I must look like a douchebag, right? Don't I look like the worst of every politician in the world because I can't even answer a simple question? What the fuck's wrong with me in my life? How do I get in this position where I can't even answer the simplest of straightest of questions and I want to be a leader?
Why couldn't I have just lost my voice all the way? Then I could have bailed on this.
No kidding.
I'd be at home watching Game of Thrones.
This doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the Democrats. It doesn't help. Who does this help? All that does is keep him in the favor of the Clintons. That's all that answer does. You're hurting your party. You're hurting your party.
This is why I got motivated to get into this. We can't allow this to devolve into factional struggle. Of course there were problems with 2016. Nobody could say that there weren't.
Tom Perez just did. Of course there were problems with 2016. Nobody could say there weren't. It sounds like there's a lot of people saying there weren't problems. So again, you gaslight. Again, there's lots of people saying there weren't problems. And of course, there's going to be a fight inside the party. And guess what? The people who are wrong need to fucking lose. You have to. So this guy goes on to pretend that nobody has to stake a position, and there's nobody doing things wrong inside the party, and there's nobody doing things right. We just need to come together, and it doesn't matter what we do. It totally matters.
I didn't love living through the 2016 primary the first time. I don't know why we as a party would want to live through it a second time. We have got to look forward.
Okay, Petey Buttygig, I guess that's his name. Petey, we're not going to relive through it a second time. But you can't fix a problem until you identify what it is. So quit pretending that sticking your head in the sand and not acknowledging what the problem was is the way to fix the problem. Quit doing that. And he's doing it in a way that makes him seem like he's the mature one. I'm grown up. We've got to fix the problem. We've got to come together. And you don't come together and fix the problem by sticking your head in the sand and ignoring the goddamn problem. You bullshitter. That's bullshit. That's politician bullshit he's doing. And he's trying to do it like he's the truth teller. You're doing the opposite of truth telling. I'm called Peter Buttygiggy.
Not bad.
And that gets fucking
The wolf
applause.
isn't just at the gates. The wolf is through the gates and eating our sheep right now. And this idea that this is going to be a factional struggle between the Bernie wing and the establishment wing is missing the point.
No, you are missing the point, knucklehead. There is a struggle going on right now for the soul of the Democratic Party. And if you want to pretend it isn't going on, I guess that's why you guys are losers.
And a politician literally referring to people as sheep is quite telling.
We've got to take it to the real opposition, which is the Republicans, who are in power from the top of the ticket all the way down to school
Mr.
board.
Mayor.
So it's-
And yet, why do you think that is, Jagoff? You think that is because what? Because we haven't figured out what our identity is as fucking Democrats. And that's what you got to do. And asking people to stop going through that process is irresponsible. At the very least, it's irresponsible. It's grossly stupid. And he's doing it under guise of trying to be a healer and bring people together and a leader. It's the opposite of being a leader, what you're doing. Hey, can't we paint over our problem? Can't we paper over our problems and just pretend that our problem is Donald Trump? You guys are wiped out at every level of government. Your problem is you. That's the problem.
I think if we could have gotten more money from Republican donors,
Yes.
could be even more wiped out.
We'd be, here we go.
Ms. Boynton-Brown?
The reality is that the world has moved to a place where the Democratic Party is no longer keeping up with it. There are more independents than there are registered party people, and those independents want a place to play in the primary system. And so you have a system that's been in place, as Sam said, that's no longer serving the people in our country. I talk a lot about new power. If you haven't heard me, you can go to thisisnewpower.com. And this is what the people in our country are demanding our systems go towards. Something that's collaborative, something that's truly inclusive, and something that's transparent. And it's an issue that has to be dealt with. We cannot just throw it under the rug and say we've got to move forward in the future.
Ms.
We've got
Boynton-Brown,
to fix it.
So that's a great point. That's the first concrete thing I've heard in the whole damn debate about what the Democrats should do. And the thing that they should do is open up the debates. Open up the primaries to independents. Because there's more people who consider themselves independents than consider themselves Democrats in the first place. So why would we turn off 40% of the goddamn country? Why would we want to entice those people to come into our party? I'll tell you why. Because those people would change the party. And they would kick out the corporate money. And we can't have that. Because we're insiders. That's why. So she makes it. That's a great point. And that's from someone from Idaho.
Can I just say something? Thisisnewpower.com is not going to attract anybody. It should be donuts.com or chickenwings.com.
Yeah, I get it.
That's not going to.
I have a feeling both of those might be taken.
Sexyunderwear.com, is that taken?
On a second, Congressman Ellison, picking up on Ms. Boynton-Brown's point, it must not be swept under the rug. It must be dealt with. How? Do you issue an apology to Bernie Sanders? Do you own what happened? How do you move forward if you don't own the past?
Well, Donna Brazile went to the Bernie supporters, and she did issue an apology. That happened. Now we have a unity commission, which is going to be appointed by somebody in this group. And I think we absolutely have to make sure that in the future, every person who wants to vote for a Democrat must feel that it was fair, open, and accessible and transparent. That is a mission, but I'm telling you, the real problem is ahead of us. People are organizing in the street right now. I believe I'm the unity candidate in this race because I supported both Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. And I believe I can pull the people together so that we can come together as a party and we can win elections so that we don't ever have to go through this thing anymore. Donald Trump is wreaking havoc on the American people, and the Democratic Party has to be the agent of the American people, not an agent unto itself. And so I believe we have to move this thing forward and not engage in the ruinous who shot John. We got to come together, people, and fight the real enemy. That's the real deal.
Chairman, quickly.
I don't know what he meant by that. Who shot John? He meant who shot JR? Was that he was trying to? Was he referring to? We can't go through this guy who killed who in the last. So he doesn't want to talk about it either. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, the apologies have been made.
Apologies have been made. We're moving on.
But
Let's stop talking about it.
Donna Brazile didn't make I don't know.
I don't remember Donna Brazile making an apology. Do you?
He's talking
She's
about.
still the head of fucking DNC. Why is she still there?
She's still backtracking. She's still saying that she didn't do anything wrong.
I know.
basically.
She's doing the Russia. I don't know what he's talking about there.
Plus, he's doing this. I don't. You know.
Oh, he's doing that?
I
Is
don't
he?
like that.
Hey, if someone
Either
please,
commit to the thumbs up or
What
just...
the fuck? You know, people.
Yeah.
Why don't politicians? You know, that anymore, or this, or.
Okay. Well, if Donna Brazile did apologize, it slipped past me. Let's see if there's anything more to this.
I agree with Keith, but one of the first lessons you learn in politics is perception becomes reality, right? And for a number of folks, they do believe, they use the terminology rig. Now, one of the things, I'm a lawyer, what is the definition of rig? Are we saying that voting machines were rigged for Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders? Sam, is that what you're saying?
No. Well, you don't know what the argument is, really, Jamie? You really don't know? That's more bullshit. That's more bullshit. So you don't know what the problems were so you want to be the DNC chair, but you have no idea what the fucking problem was in the last primary. You have no idea. So this guy still doesn't understand what the problem is.
Absolutely not. What I'm saying is the system in of itself is exclusive to just the people in charge.
No,
That's the problem.
But when we say when we say an election is rigged, in the minds of folks, people are stealing somebody's vote and giving it to somebody else. Language is very, very important in this. Part of the problem that we had as an early...
So he's still upset at the people pointing out the problem. That's what that is. You're using the wrong word, and that screws everybody up. He's not mad at the people who rigged the primary. Still mad at the people pointing out somebody cheated. That's what that is. And he quit today and put his support behind Tom Perez, and that's why the Democrats are losers. Guys like this talking like that. Guys like you're obvious. It takes no light to see through your bullshit. None. It's like you guys are as bad as Jeb Bush. What Tom Perez did there was a joke. This is a template on how to fucking lose and keep losing and be bigger losers. That's how you want to learn how to be. This is a seminar on how to be a loser. Hey, the next live Jimmy Dore show is March 4th. That's a Saturday. Get your tickets right below. The next one after that is March 20th. The shows sell out really fast, so get your tickets right now. Links right there.